I'm Ty Saxon. I am from Independence, Kentucky. It's kind of the northern part of Kentucky, right near Cincinnati, Ohio. Um, and I purchased a one T-shirt in this raffle to win this MR2. Uh, no, I know. I mean, if I had to guess, I would probably say 10 or so of them. I know, oddly enough, it seems like the MR2 ones would just catch my eye. And I don't know if it's just the algorithm that as I scroll online, those seem to pop up more than some of the other ones. But this is the first time I purchased a shirt. Usually I would just almost donate the $25 or so to kind of enter in and be like, well, maybe I'll win something. And then I would keep track when I would see who would win and kind of look to see, is it somebody in my area or something like that, which over the years I have seen. I know there's been a couple that were right in our little tri-state area that I've seen would win. So, I thought it was cool. But yeah, I mean, I didn't have, I think Prime is the only raffle that I've ever entered. I'm not real big on getting into the car raffles and whatnot. And oddly enough, I think some of them that are massive, that are giving away just really, really expensive cars, my brain tells me there's so many people entering those that the chances are smaller. So with the Prime raffles, I thought, this is obtainable. I didn't think it would happen, but I mean, it is. It seems like it's a little more obtainable than some of the ones that they're raffling off. $400,000 cars, and the raffle lasts for 4 months, and all this stuff. These are pretty quick raffles that I feel like the odds are a little more in your favor. I wasn't really into cars as a kid. I didn't grow up in a family that was around, parents that were into cars or uncles or anything. And oddly enough, I used to joke with my parents that I never got anything with a motor until I was getting my first car. So I never had, dirt bikes or even Power Wheels. So my first car was a Ford Probe GT, and because I liked the style of it and it seemed cool at the time. So I got into that and kind of became hooked. I got into cars a little bit. I liked going to the drag strip, and it was about the slowest car at the drag strip, but I just liked it. And I think what got me into modifying the cars is that car, kind of like the MR2, didn't have a huge following. So when I wanted to modify stuff, I had to just either make it and figure out how to do it. I couldn't just go on, at the time, JC Whitney or Nope or something and order exhaust. It was like making it myself, and it kind of got me more mechanically inclined. I didn't have the money to pay somebody to do it, so I was just figuring it out myself, and slowly just got into different cars. And the Probe to MR2 was like a natural progression. It was like the MR2 was everything that the Probe wasn't. It was rear wheel drive. It was already turbocharged from the factory. So I think I got my first MR2 in maybe like 2001, maybe somewhere around there. So same thing. I got into MR2s and started modifying them and doing things myself, and it kind of snowballed. I started a business back in 2007, and it started out just selling car parts, for every kind of car. And I started getting some local MR2 owners that would message me and say, hey, can you fix this for me? Or can you upgrade? Can you install this exhaust for me? And I don't know, it just went from a hobby and slowly turned more into like, hey, this could be a job. Like, I can actually do this. So it just kind of snowballed from there, where, I took a hobby and turned it into a job. And I do feel like ever since then, I don't really feel like I've worked. It doesn't really feel like work. So I tell them, I got 3 boys, and I tell them that. I tell them, like, if you could find something that you enjoy doing and you can make a living out of it, it's amazing. If whatever it is, find some way to make a living out of it, and you don't I like coming to work every week. I'm not looking forward to Friday, and I'm not dreading Monday. So it's kind of crazy. I think around 2012 or so, I started taking it way more serious, and actually I got my first shop where we were working on MR2s. And at the time it was a little, one bay, could hold 2 cars, and I had one lift in there, and I was just doing engine swaps and repairs and all kinds of stuff for kind of people all around the country. And then since then, it's just gradually grown and grown to where, now we have, I think it's 7,500 square feet or so of shop space, and are doing engine swaps and engine builds and all kinds of stuff for the MR2. And people, it's kind of funny. I mean, I'm sure Brian knows what I mean when anybody that comes in here, they always say, I never even see these cars. Like, where are they? How are they all here? And you're like, I don't, or why don't you work on something else? And I think I've tried. I'd say over the past 10 years, I've bought cars thinking I'm going to get into a different platform, but it just kind of sticks with you. I mean, it's kind of, you stay with what you know and what you're good at. And, we've gotten pretty good at one make and model of car. And I joke at some point there's going to be none left, but it does seem weird because now we get cars that Brian and you guys have swapped so many years ago, and they're still running. It's just, it's been 10 years and they want, what's the newest thing? What's the newest engine that we could put in? And it's just kind of crazy to see it's going through like all these cycles of, here's what's really popular now, and the same guy still owns the car 10, 15 years later, and now they just want what's the best thing now. I don't have it and all the work that was done, even from you guys and other shops, was good. The car still runs. It's just sometimes they just want what's new, and they love the car. It's kind of sports cars are kind of like that. They have kind of these cult followings where you kind of fall in love with a certain car, and for some reason you just can't get past it. And we have a lot of customers that had MR2s, sold them. 5 years later, they're emailing me like, hey, do you have any of them? I got to get back into one. And I joke with them because most cars aren't like that. I feel like most cars, as you get older in age, you move into something, I shouldn't say better, but just more expensive, higher end, something newer. But for some reason, MR2s, it's like people, once they have one, it's like they don't look back. They might move on to something newer, but they still have an MR2. Like, it's just a cool car that, that is still, even though it was made in the 90s, it still looks so modern. It's an old car, but it's the best of both worlds. It still looks pretty modern, but it's very mechanical. It's, I literally 2 hours ago, we just had a guy that flew in, and he's driving his MR2 back to Washington, D.C. area. So he's ecstatic. He picked up, we did a turbo V6. So he picked it up, went on his test drive. It's got almost 700 horsepower. And he came back from the test drive shaking like, yeah, this is crazy. I mean, it's cool to be able to take old cars and do that with them and keep them on the road and find new ways to keep them on the road. So I was down in Florida on vacation, oddly enough, and I got an email, and then I got a message, and I'm like, I didn't take it real serious. I didn't even tell my wife or anything. I'm sitting in that little living room area of this condo we were renting, and I'm reading it, and all I could think of is I used to always see Prime post like, scammers, like, hey, don't listen to this page, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, this has got to be, this can't be real. So when I found out it was real, I thought, wow, this is, I could see how people could fall for that type of stuff, where people make fake pages and message you and say, hey, you won this car. I don't know what they're trying to get. Maybe they try to get you for credit card info or something, but it's hard to believe at first, like, there's no way I won this car. and then I told my wife about it, and she's like, what? She couldn't believe it either. And we were on vacation with my mom and her mom. So I'm telling them, and they're like, obviously they don't know anything about MR2s. So they're like, oh, is it a new car? I'm like, no, these are old cars. These are all like old, 90s sports cars. But, it's just, I didn't believe it. And then I instantly thought, what are the chances that I win an MR2? It's, crazy to think, but I guess that's what you get when you only enter the raffles that have MR2s. And I don't even know why I do that. I think it's just they have a soft spot in my heart, and I see them and I think, well, all right, anytime I see an MR2, I'm gonna support the Prime guys. And I don't think I'm ever gonna win, so I used to think of it as like just donating money, like, all right, I'm not gonna win, but I'm proof that you can win, so that's it's pretty crazy. A couple months ago, we started a YouTube channel, and I'm so bad about filming content. I'm a terrible content filmer. So I thought, all right, well, when I know the car is on the way, maybe we'll make a video like, hey, you could win a car, like show it, get in the car, take it for a spin, and I thought that would be pretty cool content because we're starting to get some followers and people that maybe see like we had talked about, like people actually win these cars, like if you, and especially some of the sites, you have a much better chance of taking home a cool car. So with this car, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I was telling you guys, I have a 16-year-old that has his temps. It's my son, and he doesn't have his license yet, but he's been learning to drive. But the big thing is he's not really into cars yet. So he's the type that's like, I don't care as long as it's got a good radio in it. He doesn't care what it's got. So, which I guess is good, because I remember when I was 16, if you remember the Auto Trader magazines you used to go buy for $1, I used to go buy those every week, and I was circling every car that I wanted. And I remember my dad said he's gonna, I'll get you your first car, we'll pitch in. He didn't tell me a budget, so I'm circling every expensive car in the whole thing. And I remember my dad found one of them in my room, and he comes in like, what are all these cars circled? And I'm like, well, these are like cars I want to look at. And he's like, we're not buying any of these cars. We're buying a car for a couple grand, and it's your first car. So I guess I'm lucky that my kid is not like wanting a Ferrari for his first car. But I kind of jokingly was like, well, it's automatic. He knows how to drive that. That would be a really cool car for a 16-year-old to have as their first car, showing up to school with the steering wheel on the other side. And so I don't know how he feels about it, because like I said, he might look at it as, oh, this is an old 2-seater car, but man, that would be, all of us when we were that age would be ecstatic to get something cool like that as your first car. So I'm not sure what we're going to do. We'll see when I get it, I guess, and see kind of how it plays out. And I'll definitely, let him drive it a little bit and see if it's something that he really likes, and, would definitely help us out. We wouldn't have to buy a first car for a kid, but we'll see. We'll see if it's something that he likes, and if not, I'm not sure. It's oddly enough, I've worked on hundreds of MR2s, and I've never driven an automatic MR2 in my life. They're so few and far between. And if we get one here at our shop, it's usually blown up or something, and we got to push it in, and we're replacing everything and swapping it to a manual. So I've never driven an automatic MR2 on the road. So it's probably feel a little weird to me even. Yeah, I would say that PrimeDriven is definitely real. I've seen it firsthand even before I won, from talking to Brian and stuff over the years, of how many cars that you guys give away. It's just wild. And like I said, the odds of winning are good. It's better than probably most, because you're giving away so many cars in a fast amount of time. And this one that I won was I believe it was a one-day raffle, which was even better. I thought, all right, well, I thought I'm going to beat out a lot of people that weren't even on their computer that day that didn't see it, because I know we had two of my local buddies that I text and told them that I won. Their first reply was, "I didn't see there was an MR2." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what that's what I was betting on." So yeah, it's real, and they're giving away cars almost every day. It seems like I see a new car. Like I was saying earlier, every time I'm scrolling, it's a different car. I'm like, that's a testament to be able to give away hundreds of cars over the years is pretty wild, where a lot of the companies are kind of winning you over with a really expensive car, but they're giving away one a year or something, where it's such a long raffle that the odds are not really in your favor to win that car. Whereas these are such short auctions or raffles that, you know, the odds of winning are much higher than some of the other raffle sites. It's pretty cool.